Have you ever gotten that email or app notification from your credit card company saying, you're eligible for a credit limit increase? And you thought, heck yes, more room to breathe. But here's the thing. Is that actually a smart move, or should you be thinking about a totally different strategy like opening a new card? Now, today I'm going to be breaking down the real reasons why you might want to increase your credit limit, how to actually do it the smart way, and when it actually might make more sense to open a new card instead. And yep, I have actually done both several times, so I'll be sharing what worked for me, what backfired, and what you should definitely watch out for. So let's actually start off with the why. Now, why would you even want a higher limit? Well, of course, reason number one, probably the biggest one, is lower credit utilization. So your credit utilization is the amount that you owe divided by your total credit limit. And if your limit is $5,000 and you owe $2,000, well, that's actually a 40% utilization. And that's not great because you want it to be 30% or lower. And that's across all of your cards. But hey, if you increase that limit to 10,000, and I know that not everybody can double their credit limit, but you're now at 20% utilization without paying off a dime. That alone can boost your credit score. But hey, let's also think about getting that balance down as soon as you can, even with that higher limit. And of course, reason number two is the emergency flexibility. And let's be real, life happens, and it has been happening at a breakneck pace recently. And as you're building that emergency fund, a higher limit does give you a little bit of a cushion for surprise expenses like car repairs, a broken appliance, or even medical bills. And I hope you're all safe and you're healthy and doing well, but you don't want to be maxing out your card just because your AC died. And that actually happened to us. I'll share that later. But reason number three is lender confidence. So the better that you manage your credit, the more that banks will trust you. That trust can help you get approved for future loans like mortgages or even for a car, especially if you're keeping your balances low and paying them on time. And so how do you actually get more credit? Well, step by step here, ensure that your credit score is stable, and typically FICO scores of greater than or equal to 690 for better odds, but I'd even aim for at least low 700s if you can. Make sure that you're consistently paying those bills on time. And I'd even recommend splitting your balance into twice a month payment. So those first 2 weeks, pay half of it, and then the second 2 weeks, toward the end of the when everything is due, then pay the rest of it. We do that all the time. But updating your income is one of those things where if you go into your credit card app or your website for the credit card company, make sure that your income info is up to date. Many people skip this, but it is key. And I do this anytime that my wife and I get raises or there's a change in bonus structure and even those side hustles, because I am paying taxes on that money and it is income. Now, of course, making the request. So most issuers like Capital One, Chase, Bank of America, Citi, American Express, and Discover, they let you request an increase online, and it takes like 30 seconds. You can also call if you want to speak to somebody. And something to note here, most of them will raise the limit based on their own algorithm. But here's the thing with Bank of America, at least with our experience, they will typically ask you how much you want to raise it. And so if that's the case, I would aim for no more than about 10 to 25% of your current limit so that you don't raise any red flags or easy denials. And I will share that I did request a credit limit increase on one of our Bank of America cards, and we had a $22,000 limit. And I took a chance because I really had nothing to lose. I just wanted to round it up to an even $30,000, which is just under a 40% increase. However, we have been with them for quite a while and they did approve us, but your mileage may vary here. Now with Apple Card, you can just go into your wallet and then the card and then send a text message requesting an increase. It takes very little time and you'll get a decision pretty quickly. But I was also denied on one of my requests. And the reason was that I wasn't really utilizing my available credit, which at the time I believe was around like $14,000. And my balance may have just been a few $100s. But after purchasing a MacBook Air on the card, which only really pushed my balance up over about $1,000 with like a couple of other things that I had on there, I made another request at that time and they did grant me another small bump to $15,500. But I do think it's because of how I use this card versus how I really use some of my other cards that I have much higher limits on and much better perks. Now, timing does matter, so don't ask right after opening the card. Wait at least 6 months and especially do it after a raise or if you've updated your income or even like paid off a big chunk of the balance. I made this mistake of asking for an increase on one of our Discover cards that we had recently opened and it was just shy of 6 months. I totally forgot about it and we were denied because of this reason, even though we already had another Discover card But once we ticked up over that 6 months, which was actually like just a few weeks later, we were approved. And I would recommend setting calendar reminders for about every 6 months, but also stagger them out because some creditors may see this as a concern if they see these limits increasing all around the same time, especially when paired with more spending. So just be careful because yes, your limits can increase based on the creditor extending this to you on their own, but it is unlikely that you'll have, let's say, like 5 or 6 credit cards with limits that increase all around the same time like that. So just be careful with it. And then you actually need to know the type of inquiry. So ask whether it's a soft or a hard pull. Soft pulls don't hurt your score. Hard pulls can knock you down a few points temporarily. And if denied, like, don't panic. And I can't give you a list of all of the cards, but I will say that just about all of the cards that I listed previously in this video from those banks, we haven't had any hard pulls. They were all like soft pulls. And then there's also where you get pre-approved, or they've said like, you just have to accept the card. We already have this like ready to go for you. So just double check those terms just to make sure that that hard pull isn't going to affect you. But as far as you getting denied, ask why. It could just be like utilization, income, or a short history. And I will say that I applied for a business card that I had opened this new business, and it wasn't an issue with apparently with my credit score. Like I called them and I was like, hey, what's going on here? It was like a computer glitch. Something ended up in the wrong box or some question that either I had answered incorrectly or it just took the answer like the wrong way, whatever it was. But once I called and followed up, I fixed it and they approved me. So that's what you can do is fix that situation, then try again in a few months. So let's actually break this down. And should you increase your credit limit or just open a new card? So if you increase your limit, it could trigger more along the lines of a soft, but it could be a hard credit pull. It just depends on the issuer. But with a new card, you're almost always looking at a hard inquiry, which can ding your score just a bit, at least temporarily. Now, in terms of your total credit available, both options will increase it, but a new card adds an entirely new credit line, which can help even more with your overall utilization if you manage it well. But again, it also kind of not necessarily restarts your whole thing, but part of your credit score is based on how long you've had credit. So that new credit line will bring that down just slightly, just like I said, just for a little bit. But utilization wise, both strategies do help, and a higher limit lowers your credit usage percentage, and so does spreading your balances across more available credit. So the key is really staying disciplined either way. And where things really start to differ is in the perks. So a limit increase gives you more room, yep, but that's about it. No bells, no whistles. But a new card, well, this can come with sign-up bonuses, better rewards, cash back, or points. So if you're optimizing for benefits, that is the win. But here is the warning. Overspending risks go up in both cases. Now with a limit increase, it's probably moderate. But with a brand new card, especially one that feels like free money in the moment, there's a bigger chance of getting in over your head if you're not careful, especially if you have certain bonuses that you're trying to hit because you need to spend a certain amount of money. So just be cautious. And finally, the approval odds. So if you've got a good payment history with your current card, getting a limit increase, it's usually easier. But a new card, now that approval does depend on your credit score, your income, and of course the issuer's criteria. So again, both can help, but it depends on your goals, your discipline, and where you're at in your credit journey. But if you're already juggling multiple cards and want to keep things simple, a credit limit increase might be the cleaner, safer option. Now, I've personally done both here, and when we had a big purchase coming up, our air conditioner actually crashed out on us. Now, I opted to open a new credit card, which at the time was the Chase Sapphire card, and they were running a deal, which I think they're always running a deal, $750 sign-up bonus if we spent a certain amount, which we were definitely going to be hitting that threshold. And we could have 0% interest for at least a year. It might have actually been a little bit longer. But even though we could have paid for it, I wanted to keep that available cash working for us. So we were given a limit of around $20,000, which was going to be more than just about any credit limit increase. Plus, we were able to immediately take advantage of those perks, especially before all of those energy and manufacturing rebates kicked in, which helped us pay this balance down even quicker. Not to mention, it added to our collective Chase cards and rewards, which I'll actually follow up on a video about those benefits. But here is the bottom line. Whether you increase your limit or open a new card, it's only helpful if you manage it well. Don't let these bigger limits give you bigger spending habits, and use the opportunity to build credit, not go wild on Amazon or book a vacation that you can't afford just because of that amazing travel reward package that they have, because those can get eaten up quite quickly by interest. So if you're thinking about making a move, ask yourself, is this helping your long-term financial health, or is it just giving you room to make a mistake? And if you've ever tried to increase your limits or opened a new card for rewards, let me know in the comments and how it went. And if you're not sure what move is best for you, drop your situation below. I read every one of the comments. I know on this channel right now, I don't have a ton of comments, but either myself or someone in the community can try to help. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to the community, and I will catch you right back here on your next level up.